I pretty much attack anything that I think is unjust or untruthful, and here in Tasmania there seems to be an endless supply of that. Unfortunately, my main outlet is Tasmanian Times. He's the only guy that'll publish my stuff, and even that can be difficult at times. The editor is a bit of an eccentric, and he likes to drink a lot of wine and then go on long marathon races and run it all off. So a lot of the time he's not there or not available, but most of my stuff does end up there. Currently I'm involved in a war on YouTube with Erica Betts. Erica Betts didn't like my videos and had 2 of them taken down by YouTube for copyright, and it was just complete lies because he didn't own the copyright to those videos. So I spend a lot of time online, and I've been aware of Wikileaks because Wikileaks has been going for a few years, and they bit off a really big chunk to start off with because their ground is the whole planet. Wikileaks divided up the entire planet into countries, and you could go onto their site and look under countries, and there were leaks. There were leaks from Australia on Wikileaks. Most of those leaks came from New South Wales, and most of them were about organised crime. The way I look at it, big business, politics, government and organised crime all overlap at some point. And this is something that the population are really kept in the dark over, or just in denial over. I think a lot of them suspect it. They suspect that there is something going on, that things like the Labor Party, who are supposed to act in the interests of workers, really act in the interest of big business, and half the time they're just killing their workers, in either poisoning them or in rock falls, in mines. At the moment, apparently, they're selling a quarter of the electricity generated in Tasmania to the world's second largest mining company for less than the cost to make it. And of course, they're buying their own electricity, which is virtual electricity. Well, it's not the actual electricity generated from Queensland, but they're buying Queensland electricity just to undercut one of their own companies, which, how do you work that out? None of us can buy cheap electricity, but they can. So, yeah, that's the lovely Queen Lala, or Lara Giddings, our new Premier, and so I'm looking forward to having a long and productive relationship with Lara Giddings. I think she may not be in the job for that long.
It'll be a short one, Karl.
Yeah, I think it will be rather short, and who knows, maybe they do Skype video hookups with Paul Lennon and maybe Robin Gray from Guns. We really don't know. We see the tip of the iceberg. We really don't know what's going on. I had a phone call last night, and the guy was talking about Swiss bank accounts. Now, the last WikiLeaks leak involved Swiss bank accounts, and that guy worked for one of Switzerland's 4 largest banks, and he had some of that bank's offshore tax avoidance customers. So just a small percentage, but apparently it covered a lot of government and big business. So you can bet that there are government people and big business people in Australia avoiding tax. And the WikiLeaks is bringing a lot of that stuff out into the open. Thank God for WikiLeaks, and the guy's an Australian. I think that's fantastic that Julian Assange is an Australian, because we have a bit of a tradition. We've got John Pilger, the investigative journalist. At the moment, John Pilger is calling for Tony Blair to face charges of war crimes. Now, that's pretty serious stuff. Tony Blair invaded another country on false information, but then so did we, so did Australia, so did John Howard. We are sitting on an actual volcano of unresolved problems, real lies. Somebody said recently that there was an upside to the invasion of Iraq, and that upside is that now no Australian or American or Englishman believes their own government. They all know that their governments lie to them, and it's true, our governments lie to us. And as a result of that, we've now got Andrew Wilkie sitting in the Parliament. Andrew Wilkie was a whistleblower. he now is one of the people holding the balance of power in Australia, and that is a really good outcome. Fantastic outcome. So the whole whistleblower and is not totally reliant on Wikileaks. Wikileaks is a good part of it. He really raised the bar very high, but it's obviously the job's too large. There are problems all over the world. There's corruption all over the world because we're dealing with something that's actually human nature. You know, greed and to cover up and crime is part of human nature. It will always exist, just like good and evil will always exist. So we really need sites like WikiLeaks everywhere, and we really need them in Tasmania because, as we know, this place has got some serious problems. I mean, for a long time it was run by hydro, then it's run by the wood chip companies, and this is just not on. This is supposed to be a democracy, and what I like about the online opportunity for change is that the problem is that around 70 to 80% of Australians and Tasmanians really couldn't give a stuff, you know. They're not politically engaged. They really don't care, you know. They'll go off and vote, and it's really like choosing something to put in the washing machine from the supermarket, you know. It doesn't really matter a real lot to them. They just think, oh, well, all politicians lie, they're all corrupt, who cares? So that's the situation. But by using the internet, we can subvert that whole system. We can actually bring in the people who are politically engaged, and I would say that everybody here today is politically engaged. And we can engage with the politically engaged, and we can be the ones who bring about change. And if the other people aren't interested, well, so be it. Because, as somebody said, actually, somebody at the Forest Stewardship Certification Council recently said, the world is run by those who show up. And I'd like to thank everybody here today for showing up, because people like us are actually running the world. So we really need to remember that we do have some responsibilities, and we are doing what's good and what's in the public interest, even though the vast majority of the public really couldn't care. So we care about our health, we care about honesty, we care about quality of life, and none of those things should be compromised by politicians just for their short-term gains, just to serve their masters in big business. So I think I'll leave it at that. Thanks very much for letting me be the first speaker. Okay, bye now.
Thank you, Karl.